Absolute widespread devastation in the southeastern part of America as communities just starting to pick up the pieces after Hurricane Helene. At least 95 people have been killed across multiple states: Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and the Carolinas.
In Florida, where Helene made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, entire communities were just wiped out from storm surge and strong winds. Families and friends are still trying to reach loved ones who have not been seen and have been missing since Friday's storm. In Asheville, North Carolina, roadways look like rivers. You can see here on your screen as crews work to reach trapped people with limited supplies. President Biden says he's planning to visit those impacted areas this week. We're not sure just yet when these visits will happen, but he said he would go as long as it doesn't disrupt rescue and recovery operations. While in Las Vegas yesterday, Vice President Harris reaffirmed her and Biden's support for helping the impacted areas recover. Take a listen.
More than 3,300 federal personnel have been mobilized. We are deploying food, water, and generators and working to restore water and power.
We have team coverage this morning. Our senior meteorologist, Scott Withers, is here tracking the latest weather and what people should expect next. First, we get to correspondent Julie Martin with more on how these now devastated communities are doing this morning, how they are cleaning up. I know people think, oh, it was Florida and there was a lot of attention on Atlanta. No. The real story here seems to be the Carolinas, just absolute
much of it very far inland, Rob. Hundreds still missing in North Carolina this morning. The worst conditions are in Asheville. That's where at least 30 people were killed as a result of flooding associated with Helene. North Carolina officials are pledging to get more water and supplies into the flood-stricken areas today, as entire communities, as you see here, have been trapped by floodwaters. Hundreds of roads remain blocked and over 30 inches of rain fell there.
Roadways are damaged, there are downed power lines and unstable ground. There are still many rain-swollen rivers across the mountains, and it may take some time for the flooding to fully dissipate.
I was able to save just a couple of things, but nothing really, like my shears for my stylists and a couple of other personal items, but basically everything is gone.
In Tennessee, the floodwaters washing out the Kinzer Bridge across the Nolichucky River there. That's northeast of Knoxville. Dams across the region were overtopped, and they were fearing that those dams could break. The damage stretches across several southern states. Early estimates say Hurricane Helene could have caused $100 billion in destruction. Robin, Alex.
All right. Thank you, Julie. All right, let's get to senior meteorologist Scott Withers. Now, there are still active rescues underway, Scotty, we know, so what's going on?
Yeah, and not only the active rescues, we've still got active flooding taking place right here. Take a look at this. These are the two areas of concern today, where basically a huge swath across South Carolina there. That's some isolated flooding there. But look over here, eastern Tennessee, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Johnson City. You are going to see some flooding today from this because all of the water is starting to move down the system here. Especially out here, really concerned about the Johnson City area and moving up here into parts of Virginia. We could see major flooding still today and some extreme flooding in isolated areas. So this flooding is far from over. This is a large number of people here that are about to get hit with the flooding and the water that's been moving from North Carolina. So this is going to be significant. Take a look at the power outages here, stretching from where this thing came ashore down here in the Big Bend all the way up to Cincinnati. But the 2.1 million customers without power right now. Most of them. Florida, look at Georgia there. South Carolina has the most at this point in time. Then we got North Carolina. This is going to take days to get everybody there back online. And actually, it could take longer than that. It's going to be a long problem. And unfortunately, we don't have time to wait. And National Hurricane Center saying they're seeing some thunderstorms down here in the Caribbean that may transition and start to form, move into the Gulf of Mexico later this week, into this weekend. You do not have to do anything yet if you're in the Gulf Coast area, if you live there, but you do need to know that there may be another event later this week into the beginning of next week, so be prepared for that. Across the country, map looks really empty. There is some rain here, Virginia, into Virginia, West Virginia, and parts of Pennsylvania. There's going to be some in eastern parts of Virginia as well. And then just some isolated rain down here in North Carolina, so nothing like they have been getting. Then we're going to get a big dry out as a whole bunch of dry air moves behind this cold front. So that's what they need, actually, is a long time, days and days without any rain, so they can get in there and start figuring it out. Across the southern tier of the country, going to be really warm. The West Coast, concerned about you all. San Francisco, you're going to have a heat wave from now all the way through Wednesday, and we're talking temperatures up into the 90s. In the Northeast and through the Great Lakes in the 70s, definitely fall kicking in there. The Southeast is actually cooling down too. Atlanta 79. Florida, you're going to be in the 90s today. The rest of the country, all these little green things, that's active river flooding. So there's a lot of that still taking place. And again, Phoenix back over 100, excessive heat warnings there. And then that West Coast heat, you guys, that's going to kick in. Yes, it is almost October, and we're going to have near 90-degree temperatures in San Francisco this week.
Tale of two countries there.
Yeah, really.
Coast and coast.
All the elements.
The senior meteorologist, Scott Withers, thank you.